ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ಒಂದು 4 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ವಿಲ್ ಮೀಟ್ ಅಟ್
So another 1 minute and we'll go live. Okay.
It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find a university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
So here we go. We go live. Good morning to all of you. My name is Srinivas Shinde, and I'll be the moderator as well as your host for this wonderful morning webinar on Bachelor's in Computer Application with, of course, the new age specializations. So good morning to all the students who have registered and taken out time to understand how the world of computing, especially with the progress that has happened in the IT domain and the kind of specializations that would be on offer for students, so that it could be a quick route for all of them to get on to some astonishing careers or some very well priced jobs. So here we are today presenting to you the opportunities available in BCA with the new age specializations as well as the job opportunities. Before we move on to the speakers, let me give you a quick introduction on what is going to happen in the next 1 hour and the speakers, the distinguished speakers for today's session. Here's an opportunity today for all of you to understand that just a BCA versus a BCA with new age specialization, how different it is. How Dayanand Sagar University, being the state private university today in Karnataka, is able to offer industry-oriented, job-oriented, job role-based programs in the latest specializations, latest technologies that are in demand today in the market. Being one of the private universities, this is the freedom given to the university to interact with the industry and see what are the upcoming domains, what are the upcoming technologies that are going to be available and as an opportunity for the students to get trained on it. So the time when they graduate, they're able to be a perfect fit for the industry. Today, we'll be talking about the specializations mainly in the web and mobile application development, the cloud computing and network, as well as big data and business analytics. I would now like to take the opportunity of introducing our distinguished speakers for today. I'd like to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy, sir. Sir is a professor for computer science and engineering and the Vice Chancellor at Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore. Sir has been the former Vice Chancellor for PES University in Bangalore. Sir holds a bachelor's degree in electrical power engineering, a master's degree in electrical engineering, and from Indian Institute of Science, and a PhD in computer science and engineering from IIT Madras. Sir has worked as a research specialist in parallel computing at New Mexico State University. Sir is currently the member of Karnataka State Higher Education Council and the Academic Senate member for IIIT Dharwad. Sir, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And here we go. We take pleasure in introducing Mr. Arvind Srinivas. He's been a veteran at TCS, spent almost 36 years at TCS, and a rich 36 years of experience in the IT industry, working across different stages of an IT software lifecycle in different industry domains, such as banking, finance, insurance, education, and manufacturing. Mr. Arvind has worked in different roles, starting as a junior programmer, analyst, progressing to heading a multi-country account as a unit product head, before being a part of the group level initiative of business excellence, interacting with aerospace, manufacturing, retail, IT, research, hospitality, and chemical companies in the Tata Group. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Shinde. Thank you.
So here we are. We will now move on to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for the welcome address and to set the context and give the guidance to the students on how the new age specializations can be a game changer for the students looking at BCA as their career. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shinde. Good morning, my fellow panelists, Professor Arvind Srinivas, Ms. Shinde, and other members of the admission team of Dayanand Sagar University, the students who are interested in joining the BCA program, and parents and other invitees. A warm welcome to all of you. The purpose of this webinar is to give you inputs about BCA program so that you can make an informed choice. We have been doing this kind of webinars in the last 2 to 3 months, educating the students to make the right choice, career choice going forward. I'm extremely happy that The technology has provided an opportunity for all of us to get e-connected and exchange some of the important aspects for knowing about a program of study. It also gives a fair idea with regard to what is there in that program of study and how does it program of study lead you to a better career. Whenever you make the choice, I think you need to consider 4 different aspects. The 4 aspects are as follows. The first aspect that you need to consider is the future of work. How does the work scenario is going to be when you graduate? Because you're going to join a program today, you're going to graduate 3 years down the line. Means when you're going to graduate in 2024, then you need to know what is the kind of scenario that's going to be there. Second, you also need to understand what are the job opportunities at that point of time. That's the first thing that you need to know, first aspect. The second aspect you need to know is what is the career choice that you have, or what is your area of interest, your choice of career. There are multiple career choice possible.
Sir, we lost you.
Sir, we are unable to hear you, sir. Your screen is frozen, sir.
Something that you need to, aspect that you need to consider, which program of study. If it's BCA, what is there in BCA? Why do you think the BCA is the right program to study? Or is there any other thing that you can look at? Then the last aspect you need to consider is which institute or university to study their program so that you get the career that you are interested in, or then in the kind of environment that's going to be there 4 years down the line. Let me dwell upon each one of them a little bit. The first one is the future of work. It's been predicted by several progressive organizations like NASCOM, the World Economic Forum, etc. Everybody has been saying that the future will be far different from what we see today. It has started. What are those changes? The changes that we can expect is there is a use of technology in every walk of life. Therefore, the technology evolution is going to change the job scenario. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. The second thing that you need to keep in mind is the existing jobs may not be present going forward. The existing jobs and job roles will be replaced by new kind of job roles and new kind of job titles. That's the other thing that you need to understand. The other point you also need to consider about the future of work is that there will be a lot more opportunities, a lot more jobs compared to what we see today because of the evolution of technology in a new form. Meaning, there are more opportunities for those people who have the right kind of skills, right kind of background. Therefore, that is the kind of the backdrop that you have to keep in mind. The career choice I already indicated. There are multiple career choices which you can think of and take one of them. Then the next thing that you also need to look at is with regard to the program study. As far as the BCA program is concerned, Professor Arvind Srinivas will discuss about BCA program in detail. He's going to give you a complete picture of BCA program. All that I can tell you at this point of time is that BCA program is a Bachelor of Computer Applications. As the name indicates, it's applications of computers or computer applications. Therefore, which is a different kind of a program compared to either a diploma or a Bachelor of Technology program. Means a BE program or a diploma program. Program is something different. It means the kind of job roles that you can expect and the kind of job roles that you could do will be far different from BTech kind of a thing. Therefore, you need to position that very carefully. That's the point you need to keep in mind. Therefore, the BCA program is a very good program. Job opportunities are going to be plenty, but you need to decide which career choice that you have. Then ultimately decide to go about the choosing the program. Again, you need to make a choice. The other thing that you also need to do is you need talent. Whether you have the right background, right mindset to pursue this program study. That's the other thing which you need to keep in mind. The last thing that you need to consider, which place, where, which university, which institute to study a BCA program. You need to make the choice by considering 3 or 4 important aspects. The first aspect you need to consider is where exactly you go to study, what is the brand value of that university, whether that university is known and the credibility of that university is the one which you need to look at. The second thing that you need to look at is whether this university has good faculty. Faculty is another key parameter you need to consider, whether the faculty are there to teach you this program of study really well so that you can pursue your career choice and succeed in the future work environment. The other thing that you need to look at as the university is concerned is to check whether this university has the flexibility in learning, in the sense whether the new education policy, the NEP components, have been incorporated. What are those components? That components gives a lot of flexibility in learning. The amount of classroom teaching will be much lower. The amount of field work, hands-on, will be high. Any university which is going to look at that position BCA program that way is the one which is going to give you the kind of background required, the kind of training required to succeed in a program which is uniquely positioned. This is the other thing that you look at. The last thing that you need to look at is as a university is concerned, whether this university has considered the future of work while giving the training. It means whether it's going to impart the kind of skills required for you to succeed in the program study. I'm sure these are the parameters which you need to consider. I'm extremely happy to inform that Dayanand Sagar University is a state private university and recognized by Government of Karnataka. It came into existence in the year 2015-16. And most importantly, you need to understand, Dayanand Sagar University is a part of Dayanand Sagar group of institutions, which has a legacy of 60 years. The Dayanand Sagar group started its operations in 1962. 1962, now close to about 60 years. Now, Dayanand Sagar University also offers a lot of avenues for students to upgrade the skills in the form of student clubs, in the form of the industry visits, in the form of different types of assignments, not 3-hour exam per se. There may be a project work. Project work is being evaluated. There is a lot of lectures by the industry experts. Thereby, the knowledge that you're going to get in this university is far different. And with the kind of with this background, with the kind of skill that you acquire, the kind of training that you acquire in Dayanand Sagar University, you will be well positioned for a better career going forward. With these few opening remarks and introductory remarks, I welcome each one of you and wish each one of you best of luck in pursuing a program of study such as Bachelor of Computer Applications, BCA. And I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for inviting me to be a part of this session. And I wish each one of you very best of luck. Thank you very much. And I request Arvind Srinivas to take over and continue with the discussion or the points that I mentioned. Over to you, Arvind Srinivas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Murthy. Thank you, Shinde. I'm glad that there are slowly some questions coming up in the Q&A panel. So I would request Professor Murthy or Shinde to kindly answer them as I start sharing my screen and engage you in the next half an hour to 45 minutes on what are the various opportunities in BCA and all of that. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So thank you all, and thank you, Professor Murthy, and thank you, Shinde, for the introduction and also the context setting. And in fact, it's a very valid point which Professor Murthy talked about in terms of the future of work, because that's what I'm going to be talking a little bit about. But more importantly, I think he dwelled upon one of the 4 points, which he said, why choose a particular program called BCA? So that's where I'm going to be talking about a little bit in terms of why BCA, and to specifically address certain points which Shinde had made, Srinivas Shinde, new age specialization. I'll focus on what is it in store for each one of you. And most importantly, the opportunities available in this new age opportunities. Because I come from an IT background where I used to recruit a lot of these BCA, MCA, engineering people and all of them. And I'm able to connect a lot of things which have gone through the different curriculum and subjects and all that. The first thing, let's just come and talk about why BCA. Why should you take a BCA and why should you not take a BCA? Let's just quickly ponder about that. And in fact, one of the things you need to look about why BCA, you need to reflect upon your own self, or you need to do a self-assessment of your own self to find out whether you fit any of these 4 points, any or 2 of these 4 points. I will explain what each one of them means. The first one is a holistic view of information technology. Do you have an aptitude for the holistic view, looking at the things as a whole? And then are you in a position to understand whenever you look at anything in the world outside you, as to what is whole to part? Do you understand what that means? And if you're interested in studying practice and not merely concepts, then this is the right place to be in BCA. It's not just a theory, like the way Professor Murthy said, especially in the Dayanand Sagar University, where we had a few students coming in. It's mostly problem-oriented learning and problem-oriented situations, situation-oriented case studies, and a lot of laboratory work so that you get the live situation and the internships, which are wonderful here. And of course, the last thing which I believe everyone should have in any program of study, no matter what you do, you must be curious about what exactly you're doing. So if you have these 4 or any 2 out of these 4, then I believe you definitely should be interested in doing the BCA. So let me explain one by one quickly as what is the holistic view of information technology. Now, what I mean by holistic view is you need to understand what is a broad business perspective. A BCA person will be able to understand the whole broad business perspective. And you can see at the bottom of the screen, a small eye, which actually shows about what is it that is visible to us in a naked eye, which actually consists of the different wavelengths of a nanometer, which again, if you are a pure science student from the pre-university, then you understand this. But if you don't worry, because the problem with the broader business sense, including me sometimes, is, I use a lot of technology words. So I intentionally gave this example for some of you who may not understand what exactly is visible light, what is the rainbow colors and all of that, primarily to avoid using technology words and technology or science technical words. That's exactly what a BCA will do. A BCA will actually be able to look at a whole business perspective without getting into saying that, oh, IP address, this is what it is, the nanometer is not working, that, this, or don't worry about those parts. So if you want to have a holistic view of what the business problem is all about, then, and avoid using technology jargon, but have a lighter one, but not too much of it, then BCA is the right choice for you. You need to understand how the whole thing works. Look at this example here. This is nothing but an example of a human body function. On the left-hand side, you see the actual organs of the body. On the right-hand side, you see a small butterfly at the bottom, small pump and all of that. If you are able to relate some of these which you see in the circles right now, see, for example, the heart. You can see the heart pumping there at the top screen. And the lower half, you can see the diaphragm of the stomach, which is fluttering like a butterfly. If you're able to connect these two, that means you will definitely have an aptitude for BCA. You will definitely have an ability to understand. On the left-hand side is actually the practice, on the right-hand side is the concept. So you're able to understand the concept and be able to relate to the practice. This is exactly why you need to be in BCA. If you don't know much about the human body, don't worry, but this is just an example at a very holistic view in being able to understand what is a broad business perspective. Then the next part, what is the big picture? You can see a small screen at the square box where it looks like a small lady with a bob cut hair and all of that. But if you are able to see this big picture, then this is exactly what we want, because the more you get into the detail, which is what you see here, same picture, you can see it is a lot of concentric circles. And if you see the big picture, it's very difficult to relate it to the smaller one. So that's where you need to have a big picture to understand that if you're able to see things from a distance and not from a close-up view, then this is what we need, because we need somebody who can integrate things together, who can talk about connecting all the things together. And that's, you don't need to be too technical, but you need to have the basic concepts of mathematics, but otherwise be able to connect things together, as you can see in this big picture. I'll give you one more example of what is exactly whole to part. Whole to part is, as you can see, nothing but looking at a picture from a holistic view and be able to bring small parts. Like what I mean to say here is, you can see at the top, there is a small blue button there. So that's called the major control point, the whole part. You establish two smaller dots, which is below the blue dot, and then subsequently 4 dots below that in the third row at the bottom. That's exactly what I mean when you say you have to break that whole picture into smaller pieces. And to do that into smaller pieces, you need to have control points, which are nothing but those blue dots in the second row and the 4 dots in the third row. And from these control points, establish minor points inside each area. So if you're able to break a big picture into smaller portions and be able to identify the smaller problem, then you have the aptitude for continuing BCA, especially in the new age technologies. That's what I mean. Look at this, for example. This is one of your favorites, which I'm sure one of you would have seen. I'm taking an example on how food is categorized in how food is categorized in a typical Amazon fresh flowchart. So I'm looking at the chocolates and desserts. If I look at the chocolates and desserts, then I need to understand what are the various Indian sweets. This is one subcategory under the different chocolate, because there are Western sweets and other things. So what are the other kinds of sweets available in India? One is a candy. The other one is an ice cream, which is also of Indian category, and then the bakery. So exclude those, excluding on the right-hand side, which you see the candy, the ice creams, and bakery. So if you were to focus only on the Indian sweets and then further categorize that into what I call milk-based sweets, and then subsequently get into pedas, and then subsequently get into doodh peda, that means you are able to narrow down your choice, being able to categorize the food in terms of chocolates and desserts, and within that the Indian sweets, within that the milk-based ones, and within that the peda, and then arriving specifically at this is what I call as a categorization, or looking at whole to part, where you're able to look at whole system of chocolates and dessert and narrow down to finally the doodh peda, which probably is a favorite for some of you. If you are able to do this, then this is why you need to do BCA. Or look at another example more on the theoretical part. Look at this real number system. The real number system has got two parts. One is a rational number and an irrational number. Irrational number on the right-hand side. Now the rational number is in turn broken down into integers. The integer is broken down into whole numbers, and whole number in turn is specifically broken down into a subset of natural numbers. So this, if you are able to catch this kind of a concept, then brilliant. You are in the right choice. You have made the right decision of coming to the Bachelor of Computer Application, because this is what is called application of knowledge. We are not going to teach you theory. We'll teach you theory, no doubt, but then the focus is more on applying what you learn as concepts. And that's where exactly I'm coming to the next point on why BCA, concept to practice. As you can see, you will see a series of screens in the next few minutes from me right now, where you can see at the bottom, everywhere you will see the product. This is the first example of a productivity software, where you will first see the concept first, the text below, and then I'll make this more illustrative by giving some examples, which you will see later. So first opportunity for you to understand what is the concept called productivity software. What is a productivity software? A theoretical definition, which is all about an application software used for producing information. Very simple. It increases the output especially in the individual office workers, typists, to knowledge workers. That's all it does. That's what productivity software. So how do you put this into practice? How does a BCA engineer, how does a BCA business computer analyst put this into practice? This is what we are going to see right now. Look at this. These are the various concepts of what you see here as a word processor on the left-hand side, where you create a document, you edit a document, you save the document, print the document. And it is restricted not just to Word. As you can see in the top corner, there are other word processing programs which you have to be familiar with. One is Google Docs, apart from the famous Microsoft Word. Then there is LibreOffice Vita Writer and several other programs as well. Or if you want to know more about it, then on the screen appearing right now, you have what we call as a spreadsheet. This is nothing but something what you need to have as a very common understanding of a spreadsheet, where you understand what's a cell, column header, and all of those. But it's not, I mean, by and large, many of you would be familiar with this already, in which case you have a bonus. If you're not familiar, you will become familiar to this program. And if you're already familiar, then we help you to write macros, small programs where you don't need a real database, but you can do things using a word processor or Excel sheet. Or if you look at this, this is the picture of nothing but an email server. How does one set an email? How does one configure an email on your laptop? I'm sure some of you are already doing it on your Android mobiles and things like that right now. So if you have this aptitude for finding out how to make sure that the Gmail or the Hotmail of your email is coming onto your mobile, then I believe you have that attitude. Or look at this calendar. Now today at 11 o'clock, we had this invitation for some of you to come and attend this. So you put a small alert and say that 10 minutes before remind me, or maybe one day before remind me. Those are alerts which you see on the calendar right now. If you know how to do this, then definitely you have an aptitude for applying the knowledge of computers on your day-to-day life. Or of course, the last one on the right hand bottom of the screen is social media. I'm sure you can recognize many of them like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and all. But I would like to bring specific interest to the professional area called LinkedIn, which is something which all of you would probably get used to as you come into the college of BCA. And I would also like you to get introduced to Twitter, because that is a way for you to express yourself. And there are other social media platforms which you can express yours and all. But I just wanted to make sure that if you have a broad sense of all these things, this is what I call as a cluster for productivity software, a word processor, an Excel, an email system, and a set of social media tools, then you are in for this right program called BCA. So this is the first one where you understand the concept to practice. The next one, operating system. This is what you learn. An operating system, as you can see at the bottom, is a concept, which is nothing but a software that manages hardware and software resources and provides common services for computer programs. This is what you learn as a concept. So what exactly is the practice here? See, this is the practice. You can see Windows, you can see Apple, you can see Linux. Some of you probably also have Android, which is a small operating system on the mobile. And some of you have got iOS. You can see the Android in the second row in the green one. So this is nothing but an operating system. So we help you to relate what is the concept and what's the practice. So what does an Android do, which is one of the most popular operating systems? It helps you to manage your hardware. That is nothing with your mobile. And it helps you to manage your software resources. What are your software resources? That is nothing but your text box, or probably your WhatsApp message, or probably your Amazon app if you have that, or probably a SMS system if you have. Those are all other software resources which are managed by your Android operating system. And then it provides some common services. What are the common services? Common services are alerts. When you go to the settings of your mobile phone, you can actually say display should be hard, black, white, all of this. All this is managed by using this Android as an operating system. So if you have some affinity towards knowing a little bit of these operating systems, then it's wonderful. But if some of you know already, what more do you want to know? Then here comes the additional things. Memory management. Most of us don't know why the computer is slow. So we try to figure out. So in BCA, you understand how to fix the memory problems. What is it that is taking a lot of temporary stay resident programs? How does your processor work? Because some of you may be aware, a processor is very old, 5-year-old mobile or a 8-year-old laptop or a desktop or whatever. So you need to understand what the processor in terms of the computations it does per second, or it is called as a million instructions per second. Device management, just a sense of appreciation of what is the device, whether it's a LCD laptop, or whether it's a mobile, or whether it's a small feature phone, whatever be that. And file management. How do you manage files? How do you create directories, especially when you have it on the cloud and things like that? If you have an affinity for all this, then we make your interest further kindled into an operating system, which is what you see over here. Third one, presentation software. The concept here is it is nothing but a simple computer program allow users to make presentation in an engaging way, a text, a picture, audio, and video, which is what I'm doing right now to all of you. This is exactly what a presentation software is. As you can see, there is a very popular, the right-hand top corner is called PowerPoint, which is what I'm using. But there is also another popular one called Prezi, which is very popular. So this is, which makes, this is nothing but another computer program. Are you going to be writing this computer program called PowerPoint? No. But you will be using it, yes. How to use it effectively? You will see this, because I'm using this effectively to make it more textual and animated, as you can see. So one of them could be audio, as you can see in the right-hand screen, where you can put some audios. Or if you want to put some small video here, like the way you can see the dog which is trying to make that. I have made a small video inside that and captured it inside my screen. And I put the screenshot with a small this thing here. Or if you want to make some wonderful GIF files, as you can see here, spectrum of white light which is coming into the prism, giving you a bigger rainbow colors, then this is nothing but a way of making motion pictures. If you believe you have an interest in all of this, this is what is called as a presentation software, so that it keeps the user engaged. Then, what are the computer programming languages? I mean, is it all that you learn? No, you also learn a little bit more on computer programming examples, because that's the most important thing as well. Now, to learn computer programming languages, which you see on the screen right now, you need to have some basic understanding of mathematics. You don't need to be very highly skilled in mathematics, but you need to understand the fundamentals. If you understand the fundamentals of mathematics, then many of these programming languages will be taught to you in a BCA program, which is very useful. And the bottom three, Java, Python, and R, are some of those new age technologies. And it is not surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have heard about some of this, or probably have already done this as part of your pre-university or the qual standard in your current state board exam, which you're doing right now. The next one is graphic design. Graphic design is an art where professionals create a visual content to communicate messages. Look at this screen on the right-hand side. This is nothing but wonderful. I'll be silent for a minute. Look at this, how a young woman's picture gets transformed into an old woman when you look at it from another angle. Now, if you think you have an art or a creativity to do this, then you are right. So what are the practical tools used for doing this? Something called Photoshop, illustration software, desktop publishing software, video creation software. All this will be made available to you, and you will have a go at it to figure out how they are doing it. Next one, database management software. A database management software is primarily nothing but to store or retrieve and define data. I'm sure some of you may be having a memory, which is nothing but a kind of data available to you. But those of you who have a small 16 GB or 8 GB SD card with you on your mobile, that is nothing but a hardware device which stores that. But the database management software is something which sits on the top of it. If some of you have used Excel, that is nothing but what you see on the screen right now, which is nothing but a database management software. And some of you, if you have exposed to some of this, we help you to get exposed to SQL, which is one kind of a database. Then there are other kinds of databases which I'm just giving you. These are all open source software. You don't have to buy them. They are all available free of cost, and they're available on the internet. You just need to go to the right website and download them. So this is something which you'll get an exposure to. Accounting software. And accounting software is something which does the accounting and bookkeeping tasks. It is primarily meant for a business's financial data and often used to perform business transactions. This is also exposure. This is where a BCA differs from several other programs offered like engineering and all, because you will actually understand a little bit of the business sense, and this helps a lot in terms of getting you a business perspective. So what is the practice here which you learn here? You can learn the Tally, which is currently one of the most popular ones in India, or probably QB or Busy. Any of those, you can choose whatever you feel like. And these are all available for you to understand. So that when you learn computers, you will also not learn computers from a theory perspective. You will also know how to apply it on accounting software. So if your question is, are you going to be writing accounting software? No. The answer is no. You will not be writing accounting software, but you will know how to use an accounting software like Tally so that you get exposed to it. And if some of you are interested in getting into a business perspective, then definitely, yes, you are in for this. Then the other part of BCA, what is an algorithm? As you can see, the concept is there is nothing but an input which comes over here, as you can see on the left hand side, and there is a set of rules which you see in a diamond shaped green box, set of rules to obtain expected output from the input, and finally it delivers an output. This is a graphical representation of an algorithm. This is a concept. Now, what is the practice? I'm just giving an illustration of a very simple practice. Let's say in the morning I had this problem. That's when it occurred to me I should do this. The lamp doesn't work in front of mine. That's where you see some of my photos are very dark. So I found out, I checked whether the lamp is plugged in. If it is not, then I should plug in. Or if the bulb has burned out, yes, then replace the bulb. If the bulb has not burned out, if the answer is no, as you can see at the bottom, then I need to probably buy a new lamp because it's gone, dead out. So this is an example of a practice. I'm giving you a very, very simple illustration of what an algorithm is all about. So this is nothing but a set of rules or business activities which you keep doing probably in your day-to-day life without even realizing that you're actually using an algorithm. For example, even to decide whether you should go to Foodligator, whether you should go to whatever programs or whatever, the fact that you would have some of these decision-making things inside, all that we are trying to in the BCA program is to help you to understand how to make this into a small set of decision rules, or what we call as an algorithm, which is nothing but a set of flowcharts like the way you can see to make it happen. Or if you want to summarize this concept to practice, we went through a lot of them. I want to give a set of key things. We went through productivity software, operating systems, presentation software, computer programming, graphic design, database software, accounting software, and algorithms. If you have an aptitude for any two of them, then definitely, yes, you are in for the right course. And this is what the BCA is all about. Then what is curiosity and creativity? If you're curious to know something, what's happening, then definitely you need to look into something what's happening around you. And I'm sure you remember Simba, some of you, or probably this Alexa, which is your Amazon. Some of you may probably, if you seem to know what's happening, you are not going to be writing this Alexa software, but you will understand how to configure it, how to program it, or whatever the way you want to use it. Much beyond, or probably write the user manual, which Amazon gives you sometimes in a very poor way. If you think you can do this better, then definitely you're in the right place called the BCA. So then coming to the new age technologies or specializations, which I call, there are broadly three new age specializations: web and mobile app development. I'll take you through what is it for you. Then the second one is cloud computing and network. And the third one is big data and business analytics. I'm going to first showcase to you on web and mobile app development, primarily because that is why it is shown in little bold font, so that you understand what exactly it is all about. Let me give the context of that. The context of the web development. So before you get into the context of the web development, you need to understand what is computer applications. Computer application is something which helps end users like you and me to perform either a single task or a multiple task. Like I'm doing a single task right now in terms of presenting the presentation to you. And some of you may be doing multiple tasks. While you're seeing this, array, come over here, there's somebody who's presenting on what is a BCA. So you're doing multitasking, meaning you're actually listening to me probably, and you're also doing a WhatsApp message to say that come over here, there is some presentation going on, why don't you listen to this? Now that is called multiple tasks. So you're nothing but application of the software to use day-to-day tasks is nothing but application software. So first let's get into what is web and mobile app development. First, let me get into the web development. Do you have any idea on how many websites are there? This was a very interesting statistics which I got yesterday from a friend of mine who works in ICANN. ICANN is a company which controls the worldwide internet, and they are the ones who do the entire addresses of all the IP addresses. You'll be shocked to know that there are so many websites available in the world, close to 1.88 billion websites. 1.88 billion is a huge number. And some of you might have seen Yahoo and Google were probably making websites even before you were born. And you're probably more familiar with only Instagram, which you see in 2010. And probably you can see the graph. This shows on the x-axis the timeline from 1991, approximately when the first website started happening, until 2021. Why I have put an asterisk between 21 to is it's currently we are in the middle of the year. Therefore, I put it as an asterisk. And between 2019 to 2021, we are having almost every day 500,000 websites, 500,000 websites are being created every day. And you can imagine, if so many websites are to be done, who's going to do all the work for the website? Who's going to create the websites? And who's going to do all of that? And that is where the web development comes in picture for you. And that's where I want to say that little bit of what exactly is web development. As you can see in the screen right now, a little broad steps of what exactly is web development all about. Web development is all about, as you can see, primarily involving a content. What is it that you have to put on the content? I'm sure you must have seen the Dhananand Sagar University website. What is the kind of text one should put in? What kind of graphics should I put in? Then somebody will do the coding or the programming part of it, and then somebody has done the testing, the layout. How should it be laid out? Whether the text at the bottom, screen at the top, videos and all of that. What should be the home page? And then SEO. SEO is nothing but a search engine. If you see most of them, they have a right-hand corner with a lens, which is called the search engine optimization. So all this is part of a web development, because sometimes as you develop the content becomes so much that you don't know where the content is, especially for a first-time user. So they need a search, and all of us have been spoiled by Google, let me confess. And therefore we need a search engine optimization to find out where is the particular content on which website or which page and all that. So if you click on that search engine, the rectangular box, and key in something, it will come there. Then the navigation. Navigation is something, how do you move from one screen to another screen and all that. So if you know these aspects of this, then you're in. And you can probably be part of doing this website creation or maintenance. Who's going to maintain those 1.88 billion websites? People are struggling right now on how to maintain those websites and things like that. And look at the other side of this here. This is slightly more technology oriented. I use this word called the full stack development, where I've broken this down into 3 circles. One is called the front end. The next one on the left-hand side, bottom, is called back end. And the right-hand bottom is called database. Front end is something what you see in the screen in front of you. That is called the user interface, which button to press and all that. Back end is something which you don't see, as you can see the word back end, but it is something which connects to the database and keeps doing. And the database is something where all the data is stored, especially when you log into Facebook or Twitter or any of those things. So these are the 3 main components of the whole thing is called a full stack development, because it comprehensively covers front end, back end, and database. If you understand these 3 concepts, front end is something which you see on the screen whenever you come to a particular web page. Back end is something which you don't see, but that's something on the server side which you can't see. Database is something where whatever data you enter is stored, or existing data on the website already stored in a database. So this is what you need to understand about the concept of web development. Then mobile app development. Let me tell you, 75% of the internet usage in the last 2 years originates from a mobile device. Co-browsing technology is being adopted by new markets to offer real-time customer support. In fact, I'm sure some of you would have shown the WhatsApp picture or some maintenance problems during the lockdown to say that see the screen and show him the camera and tell him, sir, where's the problem here? This is exactly what's happening on the mobile devices. So look at this. You probably are familiar with mobile app stores. I'm just picking up the leading mobile app stores in the world right now. Google has got 3.48 billion apps in the world. Apple, 2.22 million, and the remaining 2 are Windows and Amazon, slightly lesser. So if you look at it, more than 6 million mobile apps in the world right now. And as we speak, every day more than 10,000 mobile apps are being created, and at the same time, more than 1,000 mobile apps are getting deleted as well. So people see no longer value in them. So on an average, 9,000 websites are being created every day, mobile apps. Who's creating all of them? People like you all over the world, people like us in India. And India is the largest creator of mobile apps in the world, because it's very easy nowadays. In fact, about 5 years back, you needed to have knowledge of programming, but now there are tools available, just like your screwdriver and the wrench and your cutting plier, where you can use some tools equivalent to that in the software parlance, and then develop a website or develop a mobile app without actually needing to know coding. So who does all of that? That's actually done by a typical BCA person. The actual part of writing the tool is done by a computer science engineer, but then the actual usage of it, because you are the people who are the bridge between the end user who does not know anything about computer and somebody who has got a knowledge about computer but does not have practical sense. That's where you come in. Now, I also want to tell you one interesting aspect here. Last year, by December 2020, the Apple App Store had spent more than 19 billion US dollars. People purchased, $19 billion worth of mobile apps. Google Play, though it is very popular, but most of the Google Play app stores are free. They spent, people purchased some apps for nearly $10.3 billion. While most of us in India are used to only using the free apps. There's nothing wrong in it. But if you believe that there is a value in a particular app, you can charge a small value for it and people will find it very useful and you can actually even make money on them. And that's how you can see Apple, several developers have made people have spent in December itself $19 billion in buying mobile apps on the Apple App Store, or $10.3 billion in the Google Play Store for buying mobile apps in the month of until January to December 2020. That's the kind of spend which is happening. So if you believe you have a creativity to create something which is very useful for a mobile app, you are in for BCA, and that's what you learn as part of this mobile app development. What does mobile app development involve? Just a very quick thing. It's not very technical, but you need to understand a step-by-step guide to understand what exactly is. The first thing is you need to have a strategy. Why do you need a mobile app? Something which is repeatedly done by everybody. Then you need to understand what is the plan. How do you analyze who is the market segment? Who are the people who are going to be using this? Then you need to define the user interface. That's called UI, and user experience. If the user experience is not good, like some of you may have used the Flipkart or Amazon, they're wonderful in terms of user interface and user experience. But same 10 years back, we had a very poor interface with some other mobile apps which is not so advanced. But now people are learning what is the user interface. Or then you actually get into the fourth step, which is the actual app development, then do the testing, and then actually do the deployment, meaning when I say deployment, I mean go live with that and make sure that it's deployed to everybody, so that in the Google App Store or the Apple App Store it's available and people can use it for downloading. Now, if you have this kind of a system, then exactly you have that. Now, if you look at these 6 steps, there is, for those of you who are averse towards programming, look at this. There's only one step which is actually called app development, which is programming. The rest of it is not at all any aspect related to programming. And as I said earlier, there are tools available even for this app development nowadays in the mobile and even on the website. So if you have an inclination to develop something, then you are in for this. This is where you understand a lot about this mobile app development process. This is another example of, I just picked up yesterday when my son was picking up some Dominoes. I just thought this is typically how a chat box works in a typical mobile app. So what are the kind of entry opportunities for these mobile and web development specializations? As I said, in the front end, you can become a developer where you can develop user interface. If you are good in artistic designs and all that, or being able to understand people intuitively, or the back end on the database. And at the third step, you can see a full stack developer. If you are able to connect all of them together, some of you are probably quite brilliant, in which case you can become a full stack developer where you can use programming languages like .NET, Java, PHP, or whatever. On the mobile app, you can use Android, which is a more popular device, using Node.js, or you can use, some of you who can afford an Apple, you can use the Swift or the UI kit or Xcode, which are tools available to create a mobile app. And notifications on the mobile app, what are the common services which you can do? And there are people who do storyboarding. They're very good in connecting things, but they may not be technology oriented. This is what is done by a typical BCA person. And as you can see on the right-hand side, the global mobile app development is increasing at 14% compounded annual growth rate, phenomenal. And it is expected to grow by easily 25% year on year right now as we speak. I mean, you saw the number of websites and you saw the number of mobile apps in the world right now. And this is not going to stop. This is just going to explode further. And it's just going to be chaotic and you need to make sense out of it. We are now in what we call as the digital world. So the next specialization, new age cloud computing. What exactly is cloud computing? Cloud computing is nothing but what I call as an on-demand access via the internet. Internet is a very key word here. And it is primarily for computing resources. What kind of computing resources? It can be the application, it can be the server, it can be the storage, it can be development tools or anything else, which is hosted remotely in some other thing. Take an example of your own Amazon service, which you are having right now. Amazon app is actually on your service. So you're having the internet. And Amazon data center is probably in Bangalore. If you're those of you, it's in JP Nagar, and they have the internet connecting you to that. And then if you didn't have that storage of your SD card, and if you took a Google Drive or a OneDrive on your email or a Gmail or Outlook uses OneDrive and Gmail uses Google Drive. And that is nothing but a cloud storage where you get, I think, about 30 GB or 16 terabytes of data, depending on the plan which you choose. And it helps you to do that. And the server, you're connecting to a server which you don't even see. Where is that server? That server is in a room which is called as a data center, which is what I call as a remote data center. And this data center is dispersed all over the country. In fact, there are more than 600 servers for Amazon in almost every major city in India, so that the internet connection is only between your mobile to that server in your city. And each of these are connected through the internet, and they are all stored somewhere there. And if this makes you something interesting, then this is where you're in. In fact, as you can see on the right-hand screen, if you have a laptop, you have a desktop, you have a tablet, you have a phone, all of this is connected on what we call as the cloud application. Oops, sorry. And again, some examples. These are all the concepts what you learned so far. What are the practical applications of who are the real people who do this? Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Alibaba, IBM, which you can see in the left-hand top corner, are some practical applications of where you can see the cloud. You can buy the storage from them. You can tell them this is what you want to do. And as you can see in the center of the screen, it is completely seamless as far as you're concerned. Now, what is the next part in terms of the new age software? This is nothing but computer networking. What exactly is a network? A network is a very simple activity of connecting two or more computers together. That's all. As simple as that. And why do you need it? You can either have a wired computer or you can have a Wi-Fi. And I'm sure some of you are using probably Wi-Fi, and a few of you probably using a wired one. Now that Wi-Fi is connected to a router, which I'm sure you will be having in your home. And that's how the information is transmitted and exchanged. And data is shared when you're seeing whatever I'm presenting, either on your laptop or on your mobile app or whatever. And how is this done? This is done using devices called a router or a switch or a cable or a software. So you get a sense of appreciation of what a router is, a switch and all that. And as you can see in the screen, this is typically what it is. What are the kinds of networks which you have? You can have a local area network or a wide area network or a wireless LAN, which is what some of you are probably using. Campus area network, which is what we are using in Danan Sagar campus area network, or probably a storage area network, SAN, as what I call. These are some kinds of network types depending on the number of users, types, and other things. But who are the practical people who provide all this? Some of the people who provide very good networking are Cisco, Juniper, NVIDIA, VMware, Aruba, and Dell. And you'll be pleasantly surprised to know that Danan Sagar University has actually a tie-up with NVIDIA and VMware, who are one of the key providers of network. So you will have an opportunity to get exposed to them as part of your internships to them. Now, you put a small circle called repeater there. Many of us have the problems in the pandemic because the signal is not coming, I can't hear you, or I can't see you properly and all that. Then you need what we call as booster or a repeater signal, which repeats the signal and like a transmitter on the electric pole. It makes sure that it doubles the capacity of this and increases the bandwidth for you by repeating the signal twice. There may be a small lag, but then it makes things clear. So this is something which you learn as part of a network provider. What are the kind of entry-level opportunities for this? As you can see here, there are several opportunities for you. This is more on the infrastructure side. As you can see, you can become a desktop engineer at level 1, or you can become a help desk guy where you can help somebody who is a non-technical person to say how to navigate and understand what the problem is, because some people don't even know whether it's a hardware problem or a network problem or an internet problem or a desktop problem. So this is where a BCA can come in handy and help them. If you are slightly more interested, you can become a network supporter or a Windows administrator or a server administrator. And maybe if you're interested in becoming a data center technician, you can become a technician in the data center to plug all the wires and find out which is what's happening. Then you can become a configuration technician where you can configure the software for doing the way it wants. And you can become, there is also a certification called ITIL, which is nothing but a quality assurance. So some of you are not interested in going on the field to start with because you want to be understanding what it is. Then you can get a holistic view by becoming part of quality assurance by doing a small certification called ITIL. And you can also become part of a cloud security, because security is something which is happening a lot. And Gartner, which you see in the blue text on the right-hand side, is one of the leading industry providers for the entire computer world. They predict the demand in cloud computing to be having 3 times more skills than IT services for this pandemic. In fact, the pandemic, while it has unfortunately caused a lot of hardship to people, this cloud services has just blossomed. And that's why you see a lot of IT companies are making a lot of recruitments right now. And that is where you see a lot of these, because an engineer only does the design, whereas BCA is the one who does the day-to-day operations and acts as a bridge between the business user and the actual computer. So this is typically the kind of opportunities for this. Then the next one, in terms of data science, what exactly is data analytics or data science is what it's more referred to. It's primarily referring to a study of huge volumes of data and using modern tools to find out unseen patterns. That's very interesting. You'll see a small presentation, and they try to derive meaningful information and in domain business, enabling business decisions. Let me show you what exactly is data science all about. As I said earlier, I want to reiterate, it is using modern tools and techniques to find unseen patterns. So look at this here. Can you see in the screen? You see a screen at the left-hand bottom, a set of black and white dots. You must be wondering, what is this? Do you see any pattern here? This is nothing but 8.3 trillion megacells of black and white dots, which have been composed into a picture. Can anyone see a pattern? It's very difficult, unless I tell you the answer, which is coming on the right-hand side. As you can see, a red contour around that. This is nothing but a small Dalmatian dog. A Dalmatian dog is the one which has got the black and white dots across, and that is trying to eat something there. It's the same picture exactly. Now, this is what data analytics is all about. It helps you to connect all the dots. And as you see earlier, there are techniques to find out unseen patterns. You never saw the pattern earlier, many of you, until I showed the right-hand one. And just out of academic interest, if some of you is interested what exactly is all about, a much closer view of the dog. And on the right-hand side, you can see the picture of that. This is just some of you who are curious to know as to how the hell did this speaker present all of this. I just thought I'll show you how this goes about. Now, what exactly is a big data? Every day, we create roughly 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. In fact, this is authentic because I got it from one of the internet service providers here in the world. That is 1 billion billion. In other words, 10 to the power of 18 bytes. That's the amount of data which is created by us every day. When you log into the mobile, it creates an IP address. It creates user ID. When you log off, you get something. Right now, I'm sure I can see 44 participants. All the 44 participants would have created more than 1 gigabyte of data by virtue of even this audio speech which people are listening to. So given this, what is the opportunity here? Big data. Big data is nothing but a data that contains 3 V's: variety, all kinds of varieties of data, huge volumes, which is even unimaginable, as you can see, and velocity. When I say velocity, the rate at which the data comes in every minute and every second varies. Like in India, in the night time, it is less, but somewhere else in the other world, in the Western world, it is daytime for them. Therefore, the rate at which the data comes in is more. But some of you are watching the cricket match, especially when Rahul scored yesterday on your mobile app. That was again a huge velocity of traffic yesterday. Or when Neeraj Chopra won the gold medal in the Olympics, that particular day, we had more than 6 billion hits of data in about 3 nanoseconds when he won that particular gold. And I'm sure most of you have seen that. That's nothing but data. So what do you do with all the data? And that's exactly what the big data attempts to do all about. So big data is primarily a set of technologies which creates, which is primarily trying to analyze the data and manage this huge data, and then try to create some solutions in the area of very diverse fields: agriculture, medicine, and environment. I'm just giving you a very diverse field, but the list is endless. This is what exactly big data is all about. So data, I'm just giving a small flow chart of how data typically happens. You define what you want to do with the data, gather data. A lot of data is noise data, or it may not be clean. It may not be complete. So you clean the data and then enrich the data by refining it, and then find out insights and visuals, as you can see on the screen on the upper half, and then deploy the machine learning techniques which you learn in BCA, and then iterate, because it's not something which happens every time first. So you will have to learn through the process, because some of them are common sense. And then once it becomes common, then there is no beating it. How do you think is nothing the COVID predictions for the third wave, which hopefully doesn't happen, is being prepared? That's all nothing but the science of data analytics. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all. So take this example of the cricket, which some of you love cricket. The line at which this goes, how the ball is predicted. This is nothing but example of data analytics. There is a small sensor in the ball, and the pitch, when it pitches, it tries to find out whether the person who is out is LBW or not LBW or whatever it be. Now, it is only providing the analysis, but the final decision is made by the third umpire. This is a classic example of data analytics. Or look at this on the screen, which you see. This is an example of credit scoring for some of your parents who are trying to have a credit card, whether it shows poor or fair. This is an example of how one can predict the credibility of a person based on the loans, based on EMIs paid regularly and all of that. Or look at this. You must have done this Google search. If you try a little bit, it gives you a type ahead. This is nothing but a prediction which is done by Google in terms of using the data analytics, using the dictionary and all of that. And if this is what excites you, then you should definitely be in this. Or look at this screen here. On when you on the screen at the left-hand bottom, it tells you what are the features in your hotel.com, where you find out what are the features which are available to you and all of that. Or looking at this, if some of you have taken biology, don't worry. If you have an aptitude for algorithms, then this is the time for doing this kind of genomic sequencing using data analytics and all, because you are the people who are able to apply things to them. So what are the kind of entry-level opportunities available typically for a business BCA with a data analytics specialization? You can become a statistician if you're interested in maths. You can become a business analyst or a data analyst. And if you're keen on science and analysis, then you can become a scientist. You can even become a data entry operator, because data entry is also not easy. Or you can become a business systems analyst if you know a business, whether it be banking, insurance, or retail, healthcare, or even if you come from a family background, if you're a trader, you can be an ideal person for becoming a business systems analyst, because you have a sense of business with you, and you can become a system developer or a technical specialist or whatever. Now, this is the opportunity for data scientists as per IBM. I just got this yesterday, where it says the need for data scientists will soar by 28% in the next 3 years, primarily because the pandemic has created so much of data and people don't know how to analyze data, and people aren't able to physically come and talk. Therefore, they want to do as much as possible data analysis and prediction and then present it over the internet to them. Very similar to the cloud. This is again another corollary where the demand for data scientists is also going to grow because of the huge amount of data which you see is being generated. So given this background, I just thought I should show you the kind of partnerships or MOUs which DSU has. I understand from the BCA department, if you see their website, you can see all these well-known companies, VMware, IBM, the Continental, NVIDIA, and the GE Healthcare. These are some illustrative examples of MOUs where they have an opportunity for doing internships or probably jobs. So as Professor Murthy said, to conclude, follow your dreams, develop a passion for your program which you choose. Have a sense of purpose, no matter whether it is big or small, celebrate your success. This is what I say, just follow your dreams. So in the context of that, I wanted to again reiterate the concept of when we're moving in a digital world, opportunities are tremendous. You just need to utilize it, as simple as that. Given this, I just thought I should conclude by giving you a small picture of the reverse of working from part to whole. Look at this, how this animation works here. People thought it was a bird, but right now you see a small tree. And this is exactly what BCA, you're currently in a smaller world and you need to expand your thinking to a much larger world and probably become the tree which makes you think doing much more opportunities. So thank you very much, and stay safe and keep the distance.
Thank you so much, sir. Beautiful, lovely presentation. Very deeper insights to students, especially on the specializations being offered. It's a world of specializations. BCA is offered on, in almost every college that you go. But as rightly pointed out by both of the distinguished speakers, what matters is how it is being taught. What matters is how is the industry practices that are being brought in. So with this, we would like to move on and would like to invite the students on the next process. If you have any queries, you can still put it in the QA box and we will be happy to solve it. Happy to answer all the queries. So far, whatever questions has been raised, I think all the questions has been answered within the time frame. To help you with the opportunities further, in today's session, we talked about career prospects of BCA, especially with the new age specializations. The three new age specializations offered are the web and mobile app development, cloud computing and network, big data, and business analytics. All the three in detail, including the job opportunities, have been shared by the distinguished speakers. We also say that tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So with this, we would like to inform the students that now that the results for all the boards are out, whether it is the CBSE, whether it is the ICSE, ICS, or whether it is the state board, everybody is passed, and that has put tremendous load in terms of the admissions at good institutions. Seats at Dayanand Sagar University for the new age BCA programs are also filling up. We just have some few seats available, and we thought, let us take this webinar with this information and reach across to all the students so that they are able to see the difference, they're able to understand the prospects, they're able to understand the entire working of this university, the labs, the infrastructure, the process, and they will be able to choose the best decision for their side. So as I said, admissions are open. We have a helpline number given. It is 080-4646-1800. And you can come into our website, dsu.edu.in. You can fill in your applications, submit your documents, because we will be now needing your 12th marks card for the eligibility purpose. And post the eligibility, we will be able to send you the admission offer letter once your discussion with the career expert is over after submitting all the documents. So log into dsu.edu.in and please fill in your applications. Once the paid application comes, the next process goes. We just have admissions available for another 1 week. And I'm sure that with this, we will be able to close the admissions for this season, and we will not be able to offer admissions for other candidates who are late. So do not miss the bus. Take your opportunity and fill in this application, and we look forward to welcoming you. Classes online may with the government lifting all the restrictions, of course, they are putting in a particular guidelines for the campus to reopen. And I'm sure by the last week of August or the first week of September, we should be able to welcome the new students to the campus. Already, some of the programs have already commenced, and students are coming into the campus, and we are following the COVID guidelines very, very strictly. So with the BCA also, we will be following the same guidelines, and we expect that the program will go live in a couple of days. So looking forward to having all of you as our students and to build up the confidence in themselves for a very good future and for a very good career. We would want all of you to come and enjoy your 3 years with us and look forward to serving you. Thank you so much. Our helpline numbers are available. You can see this. Any queries at any point of time, we are available to serve you. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the distinguished speakers for their time, to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, as well as to Professor Arvind Srinivas for a wonderful presentation and inputs on how the BCA with new age specialization can give, can shape your career and allow you to stay ahead of others. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Shinde. Thank you, Professor Murthy, and wish you all the best, students and parents who have joined this call. Thank you.
not just about classroom training, but it's also about industry-ready placement training.
I have been placed in a very reputed company from Japan with the highest package. I'm looking forward for a successful international career right after college.
Registrations for admission to Dayananda Sagar University is now open. For more information, visit www.dsu.edu.in.